You might or might not have ever used At-Risk's model window. If you haven't used it, you might start using it once you view this short video. The model window is At-Risk's way of documenting the inputs and outputs in your model. The model shown here, adapted from one of the At-Risk example files, can be used to illustrate the model window. It finds the return of a portfolio of stocks in two ways, under an assumption of independent stock returns and under an assumption of correlated stock returns. This model is already documented to some extent, with green font used for uncertain inputs and maroon font used for at-risk outputs. Also, the correlation matrix stands out clearly with At-Risk's own color coding. However, not all at-risk models are laid out this clearly, and you might need some help discovering where the inputs and outputs of the model are. This is where the model window comes in handy. When you click the model window button on the At-Risk ribbon, the following window appears. It has three tabs for inputs, outputs, and correlations, with the inputs tab shown by default. You can scroll down this list to see all 10 input distributions. If you right-click any input, you see the following menu. This allows you to blow up a graph, rearrange inputs, send a report of an input to Excel, and some other options. Many of these options are available from the group of small buttons at the bottom of the window. Note that the delete option simply replaces the input distribution by its static value, usually its mean. It doesn't delete the contents of the input cell entirely. You might take advantage of these options, but your primary goal is probably just to see a list of the model inputs. The Outputs tab shows a list of all at-risk outputs. In this case, the first two are output ranges of the independent and correlated stock prices, and the last two are the portfolio returns. Again, you can right-click any of the outputs to get the menu of possible actions shown here. In this case, the delete option simply removes the output from the list of outputs. That is, it deletes the risk output function from the cell's formula. Finally, the Correlations tab lists all distribution functions, if any, that include the risk cormat function. By right-clicking any item in this list, you get a menu of actions that is virtually the same as the menu for inputs. Again, the main purpose of the model window is for documentation. If you open an at-risk model from a colleague, you can go directly to the model window to get a quick understanding of the model, the input distributions the person is using, the outputs the person is keeping track of, and any possible correlations.